Well, surprise hello, everybody. It's an unexpected episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is JD. As always, who's here with me?
It's Michelle.
It's Michelle. Michelle, what the heck happened?
I guess Shudder is just they're onto us and they're trying to destroy our whole gimmick because they dropped a surprise. It's not a surprise, but it's a surprise to you and I.
Right.
Because usually they come out on Thursdays and we watch Shudder, but we were not watching Shudder on a Monday.
Right, we got a new exclusive release that we did not see coming, and as soon as we found out about it, we were like, well, we can't let this slide by.
Yeah, Allegoria, that's definitely a must-see.
Yeah, we couldn't let ourselves, like, I don't know, maybe just take a day off and roll this in somewhere else. We got to drop everything and do it right now.
Yep, in the middle of a workday.
In the middle of a day. Well, thankfully, only one of us has a job right now, so I don't know if thankfully is the right way to put that, but...
Yeah, our audience would be way more disappointed if you were employed, too.
Right. So, there's new film. Here's the interesting thing. The film is called Allegoria, and most of what I have seen refers to it as a Shudder exclusive, except if you're on the website... The description says a Shudder exclusive, but then the image says a Shudder original. So I think somebody at their graphics editing department screwed up.
I think they've been having a lot of problems in their graphic editing department lately.
Yeah, they got to stop. They at least didn't spoil the big finish of this one on the picture this week, so they got that going for them.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, we're talking about this movie Allegoria, directed by Spider One. If you're not sure who Spider One is, I don't remember his real name, but he's the brother of Rob Zombie and the vocalist and songwriter and primary guy for a band called Powerman 5000. And he has also decided that, like his brother Rob Zombie, being in a band is not enough. He also needs to be a horror film director, and I'm cool with that idea. As we do, I'm going to read you the description of the film from the Shudder website. Michelle, is there a train going by your house?
There is. Do you hear it? I'm in Moorhead. There's always trains.
I can hear it very... Oh, no, it's fine. It happens. We're recording in the middle of the day. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to hear it but me, but I can hear it. It's cool. I'm not far from the trains either. My big one is the helicopters that fly by going to the hospital and also watching me for criminal activity.
We live in a metropolitan area. How dare we?
Do we ever? Anyway... Allegoria. A group of artists' lives become unwittingly entangled as their obsessions and insecurities manifest monsters, demons, and death. A Shudder exclusive. That description almost as brief as the film itself at only 70 minutes long. Michelle, hit us with your spoiler-free thoughts on Allegoria, please.
Well, I was also going to comment on how brief that description is and how it's kind of unfulfilling, like this movie.
Ooh.
It was really, I was glad that it was only 70 minutes.
Agreed.
It is an anthology series, which I usually like, but I didn't think it was super apparent that it was an anthology. And the short films, the very first one did have a pretty good ending, but the rest just kind of taper off. I mean, I guess obviously there are some also big endings, but they're just kind of like there's a lot of monologues going on. It's just pretty tepid. It's not a lot going on. I guess this is a good movie to watch on a Tuesday afternoon, and it's not like a Saturday primetime event. I will give it a 1.75 skulls out of 5.
Wow, 1.75 skulls on this one. I don't entirely disagree. I think I'm a little bit more positive on it than you are, but as a general response, yeah, it's like this is a thoroughly meh kind of movie. You know, I don't have anything significantly negative to say about it. I don't have anything significantly positive to say about it. I think it does some interesting things. The big thing about it is what it definitely does is it makes me wonder, okay, show me what this guy can do with a full narrative feature film now. I think there are
Mhm.
some interesting ideas that happen here. There's some interesting monologuing and stuff in the script, like you mentioned. But because of its anthology structure, it doesn't really ever have a chance to latch into anything except like the more broad, basic themes that link the different bits together, and therefore, like nothing ever sinks its teeth in. Right? It doesn't have the opportunity to really get its hooks in you and resonate. And so I'm going with a solid 2.25 skulls on this one, which I think is going to put us at a 2 skull average
Yep.
for
Out of
Allegoria
5.
out of
Mhm.
5 skulls. So that's the spoiler-free version. If you do want to go watch Allegoria, now would be without any spoilers and details. Now would be the time to do that. Again, a very quick watch, 70 minutes long. Make sure you do watch all the way to the very end of the film. In one of the anthology bits, there's kind of a movie within a movie, and at the very end of the credits, they let you just watch that entire movie within a movie without how it plays into the original bit, and that's kind of a cool little add-on. So Michelle, kind of again, you tend to be a little more interested in anthology type horror films than I am, but here we have one where I seem to be a little bit more positive on it than you are. Tell us a little bit about why this one didn't work for you so much. Tell us, what about it did not work for you?
Yeah, so I mean, it just it like you said, it's not enough to be like a full length movie. If this had been a YouTube video where I was just kind of like seeing a bunch of 5 minute short films, I would have been like, oh, okay, let's see what they do with a full length. But it's just devoting 70 minutes to a lot of very shallow content is not enough for me.
Sure.
I do usually like anthologies, but usually those have, a beginning, a middle, and an end. Those are full stories. And I feel like the first one in this was a full story, and did accomplish that. But the rest just kind of fell flat for me, and there wasn't anything too exciting going on. There were occasional moments. I did like the monologues. I like the acting. Like you said, there's nothing to really complain about, but it's not worth spending 70 whole minutes. If he had released these as separate individual shorts, I think individually I would have been more likely to praise them. But as one full length anthology movie, it was just too much lack of depth to go
Well,
on
and
that long.
and interestingly enough, it's curious that you mentioned that because I don't know if they were actually released this way, but so the movie has 5 different major story parts, and at least 4 of them are have their own separate production and cast and crew credits on IMDb. The only one that doesn't have its own independent credits on IMDb is the second bit with the painter who turns out to be the boyfriend in the bit at the end. Marcus, I believe his name is. That's the only one that doesn't have its own independent credits on IMDb. So I don't know if they were maybe produced and just like released on YouTube or somewhere as independent shorts, and then combined together later. I don't know. But yeah, here's why this one didn't quite. It's like you said, with a lot of anthology films, the individual shorts are very isolated, and then they'll make like a wraparound story that links them all together. And so there's kind of a reason why we're seeing all these individual shorts, and then there's something that ties it. This is more like what this feels like is that he started with one short film, and then he was like, okay, what can I do that kind of ties in with this? And make another
Uh,
one.
that's funny because while I was waiting for you to finish wrapping up the movie, I read one interview with him that is exactly what he did. The
Okay,
very
yeah.
first one is what he made, and then he went, "Wow, I wonder what else I can do." That's exactly how this was filmed.
Yeah, and so it feels like it tried to bite both apples, right? Like it wanted
Hmm.
to be an anthology film, but also felt like it tried to have a unified narrative because again, The film writer from the third story is the writer and director of the film within a film in the last story. The actress in the last story is the actress from the first story. Weirdly, the only one that doesn't seem to link together is the one that was personally my favorite of the bunch, which is the fourth one, where the guy and the lady come back after a date. Stars Scout Taylor Compton, who you may know from Rob Zombie's Halloween films and some other things. Also, starred a name that I knew I recognized, but I couldn't remember from where until I saw him on screen. Adam Bush, who played Jonathan in why am I blank? Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay.
Good Lord. Why was I blanking on that all of a sudden? He
wasn't going to help. I was enjoying just watching you.
He was the superstar. He was superstar Jonathan, one of the evil trio in season 6 of that show. And I thought that was super well done. I liked the suddenness of the ending on that one. It was the one that really had me like, all right, what's going on here? This is super weird. But yeah, there's not enough unity. Oh, excuse me. There's not enough unity of everything here to make it a fully realized narrative, and it's not anthology enough to be a really effective anthology. I think you're right. I think if I had just seen these like as YouTube shorts over a period of time, I would have been like, all right, same reaction basically. I would have been like, all right, this is all cool stuff. Now actually show me what you can do with a full narrative.
Yeah, it actually kind of reminds me of Ari Aster's rise to fame, where he was known for a bunch of short films online, and then he was given his opportunity to make a fully fleshed out movie, and we got Hereditary, which is very well known in the horror community. If you have not seen Hereditary, what are you doing? Go watch Hereditary.
Shut this podcast
Even if you don't
off
love
and
if you like horror, you should go watch it and have an opinion on that movie. You don't have to love it.
If you don't like it, you're wrong. That movie is so good. Anyway,
I recently talked to somebody who told me that they did not like Hereditary or Midsummer, which usually people like one or the other
from your life.
Yeah, I found that odd. They're a horror fan and they did not like either. Anyway, if he had more of a rise in that sense, where he had done short films and then people got a little bit excited and they went, okay, and he had the opportunity to make a full movie, I think I would be more impressed. And I do look forward to what he will be putting out later.
Right.
This is just fine. It's kind of boring for 70 full minutes, but as individual segments, it's also just fine.
Yeah, I think you're right. I want to definitely mention the positive things. I thought a lot of the acting was really decent. Some of the acting really intense. There is a lot of really intense monologuing in this. As a horror film, it's a lot, like each one of these is a lot more of a character piece than I would have expected going in. The horror elements are definitely there, but this movie is very much driven by acting and performances, each one of these individual pieces. Also, I thought the effects were really well done. It's not super over the top. A lot of practical effects going on. Even the weird tar man whatever in the painting section. Obviously, I knew it was special effects makeup, but it had almost like a Guar kind of vibe to reference back to that. It's like obviously we can tell this is a person in makeup, but it's so weird and crazy that and thankfully lit right so that it worked out. A lot of stuff happening in the shadows. I really love what this movie did with its music. I like the music, I think, was the creepiest part about it. It was really, really well done in that sense. So yeah, overall, I don't think it's one anybody needs to go out of their way to rush out and see. And it's also one where you don't even have to watch the whole thing at once, I don't think. Although at only 70 minutes, I don't know why you wouldn't. But so the first four bits are all, I think, about 10 minutes each, and then the last one is a bit longer, about 20 odd minutes, something like that, 10 to 15 for the first few. You could easily watch these as individual bits and
Mhm.
get just as much out of it as if you watched it all at once.
I do have to say that I think part of our experience with the movie is different because I had already started it and gotten past the first story, and I was a couple minutes into the second one about the artist when you messaged me and said that it looked like it might be an anthology. I like to go into things completely blind, so I didn't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
And
shouldn't have done that.
no, no, it's fine. It actually helped though because at that point I was slightly confused because I was like, what happened to the whole beginning thing? So I don't
Right.
think if you go into it not knowing it's an anthology, that it doesn't present itself in a way that it is stark
No.
enough that you figure that out.
Right.
So I was actually kind of glad that you mentioned it because I was like, oh, okay. But I really enjoyed the first segment, and I think that added to my disappointment that I was like, oh, well, that's just done then. I really
Yeah,
liked
I
all of
was
that part.
right. Yeah, there are characters in each one of
Mhm.
these that I did find in that very first one. I need to know more about that acting coach. Like I need more of that dude as a great character.
Yes.
The painter, not so much. That one was
Mhm.
probably the least interesting of the bunch to me. Also, yeah, not really. The horror writer thing, just that dynamic of him being
Mhm.
tortured by his own killer creation and the killer being not like overly eloquent but somewhat well spoken and like meta educated in how horror movies should work and having his own opinions. I thought that
Mhm.
was an interesting dynamic. Again, the fourth bit with the people on the date I thought was a great concept. And then yeah, just a lot of things that I would like to have seen more of, and definitely curious to see where it goes. I don't know how many more ways I can say the same thing. And interestingly
um
enough, when we started to record, one of the first things Michelle said to me just before we hit the record button was, "Man, I sure hope you have a decent amount of stuff to say about this movie because I really don't." And
and
as you can tell from the way that I've found 17 different ways to say the same thing, I didn't really have a lot to say either. I don't, it's not one you have to avoid by any means. It's not terrible. It's just you don't need to rush out and see it. If you find yourself with an hour to kill, throw it on.
yeah, I think part of my concern about not having enough to say is that it was so tepid to me that I forgot these moments that I really did like. I liked at the beginning, then the artist part, just like I did not like it, but then the tar man I did like,
The
but
Tar
then
Man was great. It
three
was a
was
lot of
like
fun.
Three was kind of an entirely different tone that was kind of
Yep.
humorous.
Hmm.
Four was your favorite, and that one
And
kind of
again,
like
an
drug
entirely
on for
different
me.
tone. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just like there were so many tepid moments that now that we're talking about, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I did like that part a little bit more, but it
Yep.
just did not stick with me. And I think part of it is it ends on a 20-minute, very long and like too long short story after all these very quick ones, and it doesn't tie in enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, before we started, I completely forgotten basically everything about this movie
Yeah.
except the first part.
as a as a feature anthology, it doesn't really work as a
Hmm.
demo reel for future opportunities. I think it does great things, and I'm very
Yes.
curious. I hope somebody does give him the opportunity to write and direct a feature. I
Hmm.
guess I'm not sure how you. I'm guessing you pronounce the name Chrissy Fox, who was the played Brody in the first and last stories. Apparently, is also the front person for a band of her own, and is the partner of Spider One, which is why their production company is called One Fox. And I think they
Mm.
make a great team.
Hmm.
It's very Rob and Sherry Moon. The parallels are crazy. But I got to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of the fella's music, but I was never a big Rob Zombie fan either. But I'm curious to see what he does with the movies because he's definitely got some talent, and he brings a different sensibility, I think, than Rob brings to a lot of his stuff. Rob tends to be a little bit more just like really overt and chaotic and
Hmm.
psychedelic, and there's a little bit more of a stripped down and raw tone to some of this. And yeah, I'm very curious. Somebody give this guy a feature budget and these people a feature budget. It gets credited as him being the writer and director. From what I can tell, his partner is very much a partner in the whole thing. So, yeah, maybe put them together as a team, let them write and direct something, see what they can do for us.
I concur.
Okay. We almost hit 20 minutes. Is that enough,
We
Michelle?
did hit 20 minutes.
Did we hit 20 minutes? Oh, we're good. We just hit
We're good. We're fine. Wrap it up.
Hey, don't forget, guys.
This episode is almost longer than the movie. So
Right. That's fair. Don't forget, guys, coming up this Thursday, if you're in the Fargo-Moorhead area, We Watch Shudder sponsoring Time Bomb Pro Wrestling at Sanctuary Events Center. Tickets are still available. The show starts at 7 o'clock, I believe. There's 7 awesome matches on the bill. Michelle and I are going to be there. We've got some free stuff to give away. We're going to be hopefully giving some interviews with some of the wrestlers at the show. Maybe we'll even talk to some of you fans at the show. You'll get to hear yourself on the podcast. And Michelle, we're also giving some stuff away, right?
we are.
Yeah.
My virginity.
Oh, Lord. What will
that
your
was gone
husband...
ages ago.
What will your
ago.
husband say?
He doesn't have to know.
So,
love you, John. Thanks for listening.
have we told people yet what it is we're going to be giving away? I don't remember.
No, you said we're not allowed to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, then we're not going to tell you what. We're giving away something cool at the Time Bomb Pro Wrestling show that's
it's
related.
It's a kangaroo.
Yeah, it's
live
related.
Kangaroo.
It's related to the Time Bomb Pro Wrestling show, and that's
you
the
get to wrestle the kangaroo.
Well, yeah, exactly. You're gonna get kicked in the face by a kangaroo and bleed all over the place for everyone's amusement.
Yep, love it. Love it.
Yeah. So make sure you stop by our table. We'll be there at the event. Sign up to win whatever it is we're giving away. We're also going to have a brand new episode right away that night, even though we're going to be out on the town doing that sponsorship appearance. We're coming right back to finish up recording the episode and get that one out to you that very night. So we're on top
busy
of things.
Thursday.
Yeah,
but a
for
fun
sure.
Thursday, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
And, hey, Shudder, maybe give us a heads up next time if you're going to drop one of these midweek specials, huh? I know you're listening. I know you're out there. I know you did this just to mess with us specifically and our several dozen listeners per episode. So,
But also, thank you for not creating a lawsuit and telling us we're not allowed to use your name in our name yet.
Right, and
we are just fans of your service. That's all. We're just.
My guess is
fans.
as long as we keep paying our $6 a month, they'll be fine.
Those are our licensing rights.
Right,
$6 a month.
All right. Well, that's all we got to talk about here today. Michelle's got to get back to work. I got to get back to trying to find work. Say good afternoon, Michelle.
Good afternoon, Michelle.